Hello guys and welcome to a new Still Division video today by me Vulcan. Today I have View Game 2 in a best of 3 between YueJin and Gonzo, and this is round 2 of Chickendew's European tournament. So today we are seeing Caumont l'Avant, and on the Allied side we have YueJin once again, this time with the 2nd Infantry Division, and Gonzo is going to be taking the Axis side with the 9th Panzer. Now just off the bat, I would say that the 2nd Infantry actually has quite a good advantage versus the 9th Panzer due to the access of the M4DDs, which are really good for dealing with the 20mm autocannons that the 9th Panzer can put out. Of course, the 9th Panzer does have the Marder 3s that it will be able to use quite aggressively in the centre of the map. However, I feel like YueJin's going to be able to play around that with things like the Ranger Marauders, and maybe even get AT guns into nice positions on the flanks, because the sight lines either side of the mid are actually quite hard to work around. So we're probably going to be needing to keep an eye on what happens to the M4s and what happens to the Marder 3s throughout this game, and whether or not Gonzo can put up a decisive 20mm autocannon push or not, and whether or not that gets shut down by YueJin in this game. Now YueJin has to win this in order to stay in the upper bracket. If he loses this game, then he'll drop down. But then if he wins 2 games in a row, then he gets to move on to the 3rd round of the tournament. And trust me guys, it's a lot easier to win a tournament through the upper bracket than it is the lower bracket. But either way, all to play for between these two players, which is absolutely awesome, because we're probably going to see some spectacular plays throughout this. Let's have a look at some of the units going down. On this top side, it looks like that's where Gonzo is going to be deploying the majority of his forces. He has 3 units of Panzergrenz, he has a command infantry there, he has the 258, the Panzer II Lux, and the Marder 3. So we are going to be seeing a Marder 3 at the start of the game. Then on the bottom side, there's just going to be an MG, and on the very bottom, just a Pak 38. I'm not sure if Gonzo's deployed all of his forces, but this bottom side is extremely weak. He's just going to be investing most of his points to the top side push, but it looks like on the side of YueJin he's doing a similar thing. He's got a lot of units up here. It's going to be 2 units of Ranger Assaults. He's got the Command Infantry, Ranger Marauders, a M1 gun, and also some standard rifles in there. So the Ranger Assaults are going to be contesting this forest area, and the rifles will likely hold the open. We'll see the AT gun there with them, and also the command infantry, but the command infantry will likely be in this forest area as well to make those Ranger Assaults 3-star veterancy. In the centre of the map we have another M1 gun accompanied by an M3 command car, which is interesting to see. Then we have a unit of Ranger Marauders here accompanying whatever these are in the WC-25. I can't remember what comes in WC-25s. It might be Ranger Supports, but I'm not entirely convinced. Either way, we have the Command Infantry there coming down to the bottom side with rifles, Ranger Marauders, and another actually that's an M5 gun. Okay, so we've got an M5 gun on the bottom side, 2 M1 guns on the top side. This is very interesting for sure. Another Storch coming out at the start for Gonzo. He certainly loves his recon planes. I believe that will be revealing the positions of the 6-pounders when he flies directly above them. So yeah, he can see that 6-pounder as it moves forwards, and that's going to give Gonzo the information he needs to play around that. On the bottom side, M5 gun. Might be able to take out this Pak 38 honestly. With the recon information from the Ranger Marauders, the M5 gun has a pretty good chance of taking out the Pak 38, but it doesn't look like YueJin wants to do that since he's turned off the HE capability of the M5 gun. Just going to be using that for AT in the bottom side. There is a salient opening up in the mid, and it looks like indeed that was Ranger Supports in the WC-52, so yeah, that's providing a little bit of a salient there. But the 251 going to be closing that off and bringing things back to 50-50. YueJin finds himself 53 points at the start of the game. The 258 is fire positioning the M1 gun with the help of the Storch spotting that. This M1 gun, however, I don't believe has been spotted So that could act as a surprise later down the line for Gonzo. I really like the use of recon planes by Gonzo, though it just seems like in this case it's not being as effective because it can't keep line of sight on the M1 gun for as long a time as usual. Like in an open field map, like Carpiquet for instance, Storches are great because they just spot everything. Like there is nothing that can really hide from a recon plane. Whereas when there's a lot of tree lines, it does actually break the line of sight between what you're trying to spot and the recon plane itself. So the recon plane more or less has to fly directly over the top in order to be useful. So the M5 gun is going to be aiming and firing at both the Pak-38 and the MG42 as the Ranger Marauders continue to move forwards. Rifles are trying to make some ground with the Ranger Leader here. That Ranger Leader is pretty important it stays close to the rifles, otherwise this half-track could definitely do work. Although I guess the M5 gun would shut down the half-track quite nicely, but Pak-38 there is going to be told to retreat and will be getting out in the tree line in time. So Ranger Assaults have met the Panzergrens there. Panzergrens do not have command nearby, so they will surrender. And that's exactly what happens. Losing a Panzergren for free like that is, I think, a bit of a mistake from Gonzo. He does have a Panzergren fielder that should have been accompanying that, but it seems like the Ranger Assaults just absolutely demolished them. The Panzergrens didn't even do a point of damage. The M4DD is coming in, and that's going to be ready to take on the Panzer II Lux, although the M1 gun's going to beat him to it. That's crazy. And this 258, that is risky from Gonzo. He's going to have to do a fire position, which he's going to do. M1 gun is going to move into the trees though to avoid that fire. Storch has been forced to fall back by the 50 cal fire from the M4, and the M4 is now engaging the Marder. It's a very interesting engagement there. Now the M4 with the extra command star should actually match up quite well to the Marder 3, because it has 11 AP versus 2 armor rather than the 13 AP versus 10 armor. But what's likely to happen here is this M1 gun is going to get into position where it can kill off this 258, because this 258 is in a horrible position right now, and we'll see that get killed off. Either way, M1 gun's going to take out a Flampanzer in the center of the map. Gonzo certainly loves his Flampanzers, but this time around not doing any work since this M1 gun was not spotted sooner and therefore was allowed to kill that Flampanzer quite easily. So we see the rifles here, they're going to be engaging the Panzergrens at that range. It's not ideal. They've got a 3 HE BAR versus the Panzergrenadiers 2 MG42s, and that's not a favourable matchup at all. But if this M4 can get up the road here, he can use that to take out the 258, but doesn't look like he needs to since the M1 gun here has done the job. Now this Panzergren is in a very interesting position where it could very easily ambush the M4. I'm not sure if YueJin can see those Panzergrens. No, he can't. He can only see these ones, so he doesn't believe that those are there. But he's going to come into line of sight of those very shortly, and he's got to be extremely careful against that Panzerfaust. Can he break the 150 meter range? I don't think he can. I think the Panzergrens are going to be able to get in there in time and maybe get a Panzerfaust off. Yep, and they're going to find the kill. That is a very, very nice kill there for Gonzo. Really, really nice kill, actually. Really good value for money on those Panzergrens then. M4 Double D going down. Nothing to deal with the Marder 3 anymore, and those are even firing at this M1 gun. Going to be doing a lot of damage, chunking that down to at least 3 health, I would expect. Never mind, does manage to fall back in time. Looks like YueJin saw that coming. Ranger Marauders are going to be getting into cover, just to avoid the MG fire as well. But losing that M4 on the top side is massive. It basically makes things really difficult for YueJin to deal with this Marder 3 just yet. However, that Marder 3 is not in the best position itself, since the closed sight lines are really difficult to deal with, and an AT gun could come into this tree line at any time from the reinforcements and basically deny this Marder 3 for the rest of the game. Flampanzer here is going to be rushing around the corner to try and take down these rifles. This Ranger Leader needs to make sure that those don't die. Can the M1 gun do the job? That is the question. Ranger Assaults are going to be moving that direction. Looks like the Flampanzer has managed to get out of line of sight of this M1 gun. On the bottom side, we see a Panzer 1C joining things down there, but YueJin's going to be changing tack, bringing his M4DD reinforcing tank to the bottom side. He's got 2 units of Ranger Marauders leading the charge, so you will be able to see both the MG42 and the Pak-38 down here. Let's see if this Flam Panzer is dealt with by the Ranger Marauders. It's a 3-star Ranger Marauder squad. It did manage to hit, but only got the transmission damage. That's a bit unfortunate. Second shot going to do the job. Critical ammo explosion. That's what he likes to see. Okay, the M1 gun here has been found by some Panzergrens. These Ranger Assaults really need to clean those up sooner than later. They don't have any command nearby. I mean, these Panzergrens are out of range, so it looks like those might end up being surrendered as well. These Ranger Assaults have actually run out of napalm almost. Yeah, it's going to be soon that those Panzergrens are actually pinned down. YueJin needs to put them onto a normal move attack so that they can use their Thompson submachine gun to run them down. Okay, in the center of the map, the Panzer 1 is going to be moving round. Looks like the 251-2 just mortared the AT gun there, so it gets rid of that threat, which would have definitely affected the use of the Marder 3. These Panzergrens are pinning down rifles, but the Panzer 1C definitely doing a lot of work onto the recon and rifles in the center. M4DD does get hit really hard by the Marder 3 here, and that's going to be Trax Wheels destroyed. That's going to be the second M4 killed off at the start of this game, and that definitely pushes things in favor of Gonzo across the map. Now this M5 gun is getting into a nice position here to cover off against the Marder 3 and half-track advance. But yeah, this M4 is in trouble for sure, and I'd be very surprised to not see that go down. There we go. Eventually the Marder 3 finds a penetrating shot, and we get the explosion there. So rifles are falling back. They didn't actually take any damage in the end from the Panzergrens, which is interesting. These rifles are continuing to fall back as well after being hit by the Flam Panzer. In the center of the map, Panzergrens still attacking rifles there, and we are going to see the Ranger Marauders take out the half-track as it rushes forwards. So Ranger Marauders being really, really useful for YueJin throughout this game so far, but losing 2 M4DDs puts YueJin in a pretty tough spot. But then again, Gonzo doesn't have particularly too much over here. He's just purchased in 3 Panzer II Lux, and without the recon himself, he's going to have a hard time cleaning out these Ranger Marauders that really are sort of cutting off a lot of the main roads that Gonzo can use to make a rushing advance. Panzer II Lux is going to be coming towards the center of the map. That's going to come straight into the line of sight of the M1 gun if it wants to try and take out the Jeep 30 cal. There's also the M7DD going to be able to engage upon that, but the M1 gun's going to be the likely candidate to get the kill. Also, that M7's going to be opening up with the 50 cals onto the Storch. Ranger Assault trying to make some ground, but not going to be able to, since they are being hit by the Marder 3 there. This Ranger Assault also going to be pinned down. These Ranger Marauders are now engaging the Panzergrenführer, 3-star Ranger Marauders versus 0 stars on the Panzergren, actually 1 star, is not going to work out in Gonzo's favour. So there we see the Ranger Marauders winning out, and these Panzergrens are basically surrounded, so if they end up running towards infantry, they're going to get surrendered. They're very close. Ranger Marauders surrender 1. Ranger Marauders, will they surrender another? I assume they will. If not the Ranger Marauders, then the Ranger Leader for sure, but that Ranger Leader needs to get out of line of sight of the Marder 3 or it is going to go down, and it does. The MG42 coming out there and finding that kill. Okay, so all of the infantry was just cleaned up in the top side. Gonzo lost 2 really high health squads of Panzergrens, and that makes it very hard for him to push the ground with all of his armor because he just doesn't have the support he needs. And it seems like on the bottom side the M5 gun did find the kill onto the Marder 3. We're also seeing the Ranger Marauders go for the Zuka shot onto the Panzer II Lux, but that's just going to be surrendered straight up. So that's one of the Panzer II Lux dealt with. There is one coming to the top side to join the Marder 3, but we are seeing an AT gun, which is going to be an M5 gun, joining us on the top side. And like I said, as soon as that comes into this tree line, it basically cuts off any maneuver that Gonzo wants to make on that top side of the map. The YueJin seems to have this on lockdown at the moment. Gonzo has brought down his 2-star mortar to try and deal with that M5 gun, but so far that M5 gun has done a lot of work. Panzer 1C also going to be forced back due to this M5 gun and the M7DD. We've got a command infantry coming up to assist the rifles in the center of the map and try and make some ground into these trees. But Gonzo's going to be bringing up some more reinforcements now. These are actually going to be pioneers, and those will most likely be able to deal with ranger assaults and rifles quite easily. They have those 20 HE power grenades, and therefore that tree line will go in favour of Gonzo quite easily. M7DD here, that's going to be hitting in the centre of the map onto those Panzergrenz. Help pin those down and allow the rifles to make some ground. On the bottom side, we do see a unit of infantry get killed in the open by the Panzer II Lux. That is well, not very good at all for YueJin. Losing infantry before it unloads is never something that you want to see. Ranger supports are engaging the Panzergrenz here, but the Ranger support at close range only have 3 HE that they can use, so that kind of sucks. The Ranger Marauders should really get involved there, but the 251-2 half-track is doing a good job. Panzer II Lux also going to be able to kill off the M5 gun down here, but YueJin's brought in M4DD to cut off that advance, because otherwise there would have been a massive breakthrough on this bottom side. So we're back to 50-50, and things are not slowing down, that's for sure. Both players getting significant kills and really just taking the pain to each other. Like, seeing both those M4DDs go down on the side of YueJin early on, I would have thought spelled doom, but YueJin's been getting the kills back with his AT guns quite nicely, and therefore Gonzo's taking almost as much damage. So Panzer II Lux goes down in the top side to the M5 gun. We see the Ranger leader here going to basically be walked upon by the Panzer II Lux, and that Lux is going to easily be able to deal with that Ranger leader, unless the Ranger leader manages to do some damage with the TNT, which it looks like it did, and then the M4 just came in and picked up the kill. Saves the day for the Ranger leader there. Some infantry is arriving, but the Ranger leader at close range should be able to deal with any infantry they come across. YueJin just needs to keep those on return fire again. But there is the mortar fire coming down, and Gonzo is starting to make a lot of ground. YueJin's going to have to be very careful here. It seems like he's losing control. His rifles up here are going to end up getting surrendered because they are pinned down without command nearby. These Panzergrenz, though, are going to be traded, by the looks of things, by the M7DD, although that M7DD shot did not find the kill. Also, the rifles went down there to the Panzer 1C. So things are, falling in favour of Gonzo positionally across the map, but there is a large concentration of forces up here for YueJin. Let's see if he can, do something with all of these forces pushing into this town here. We got the pioneers, though, that are going to be able to stop the advance of a lot of infantry. And on the bottom side, well, Fell Panzer IV has driver wounded and shooter wounded onto the M4DD. And that's going to find the kill there. Gonzo getting a huge kill on the bottom side. There is going to be an M5 gun, I assume. Yep, that's an M5 gun coming up to reinforce that bottom side. But things definitely falling in favour of Gonzo in the mid-game here. He's just found like a lot of important kills that have led to him getting a pretty high advantage. M5 gun takes a shot directly from the Befehl Panzer IV. We see P38 Lightning come in and try and shoot down the Storch. It will likely find the kill. But that M5 gun has been pinned down, and now there's another Befehl Panzer IV H here now, which is going to be able to help kill off the M5 gun and then continue to push on this bottom side. Gonzo's definitely making a lot of ground here, but it looks like Gonzo's infantry has spread out maybe a little bit too much up here, and it's ended up as though YueJin has a lot of pressure on this top side, and Gonzo has a lot of pressure on the bottom side. So Rifle Leader has managed to get on top of this Pack 40, which is going to find the kill there, unless it's saved by the mortar. Let's see if this mortar can get the stun onto that Rifle Leader in time before the rifles take out the Pack 40. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to. Rifle Leader here. Oh, they're going to be pinned by the Flampanzer, but the Flampanzer does get forced to fall back by the M7, but that M7's about to die to the Panzer IVs. This is just such an intense game. There's just like so much going on, and you can see like how much both sides have lost. Like we've counted the M4DDs that have gone down from YueJin. He's lost 3 of those now. He's also lost the M7DD in the center, But on the side of Gonzo, he's lost the Marder 3 on the bottom side. He's lost multiple Panzer 2 looks. And the Panzer 1Cs as well. But with this double Panzer combo down here, YueJin's going to need a miracle. And this M5 gun could just be it. This M5 gun needs to come out, deploy, get both the kills onto the Panzer 4s, and then maybe prevent the push from the Panzer Grenadiers, because there isn't too much to stop the forces that Gonzo has here at the moment. However, Gonzo is lacking a little bit of recon, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see these Befehl Panzer 4 go down and the Panzer 4H here go down, if they continue the way they are, because without recon you can't tell what's ahead of you. Ranger leader here, or rifle leader, eventually go down, but not before they kill the Flam Panzer. Rifles are cleaning out the rest of this tree line, and yeah, YueJin slowly but surely making ground here. He's trying to get this M5 gun to continue rolling forwards. He can then engage the Marder 3, and if that M5 gun isn't spotted by Gonzo, then honestly this Marder 3 might try and go for the engagement with the M4 gun, like the M4DD, and then get killed by the M5 gun. ME 109 GTBR21 going to be coming in with the rocket strike onto the rifles there, but that was only 1 health rifle squad, so not entirely sure if that was value for money, but well, definitely not value for money. But Focke-Wulf 190 A8 going to be coming in with the attack onto the P38 Lightning. That P38 Lightning is not being microed properly, so the Focke-Wulf 190 might be able to get onto the back of the P38 Lightning and find the kill. Hasn't actually done any pinning to it just yet, so that's going to be a dogfight that I assume continues for a little while, unless that Focke-Wulf can get a decent shot in there. But on this bottom side, Panzer 4H is going to be continuing to shoot at the M4A1 command tank. Oh, the M5 gun is in line of sight though, and if this M5 gun does manage to kill the Befehl Panzer 4, or the normal Panzer 4, then that's going to be fantastic. It looks like he's already killed the Befehl Panzer 4 there. Yes, he has. The M5 gun has got the crew wounded onto the Panzer 4. Needs one more shot to land in order to find the kill, and does indeed find it. So both of the Panzer 4s now dead on the bottom side. If YueJin is able to clean up the rest of these Panzer Grenadiers, look how little there is behind that. On this top side, we do see either, I think it was probably the M5 gun, took out the command car there. And that's going to continue to roll forwards on this top side. This mortar getting very low on ammunition. I'm not sure that Gonzo can afford that right now. But it looks like on this bottom side, Gonzo just got completely over-aggressive with the Panzer 4s, got punished by this M5 gun, and now is in big trouble because there's no command here. So if these Panzer Grens end up getting pinned down by the M4A1 and such, then it's going to be pretty easy for YueJin to push back. There's now an M10 destroyer coming onto the field as well. That's going to be able to help deal with the Panzer 4s from range. On the top side, the M5 gun has found line of sight onto the Marder 3, but did not find the kill. There is Panzer Grens and Pioneers moving up through the tree lines in the mid, which will likely take out these rifles, but assisted by the Ranger Assault could possibly get a kill in there or two. Maybe end up surrendering these units. Again, lack of command is something that is really going on for Gonzo right now. There's not a single command unit on the field since that command car got killed off. So one Panzergren unit has been killed here. There's one with 4 health, and there's the one falling back on the bottom side with 9 health here. So it's only a matter of time until both of those Panzergrens get overrun. M4A1 is going to be coming up to an engagement with this Panzer 4 by the looks of things, but the M10 might be able to help out with that. We see the rifles and the Ranger Assaults engaging the Panzergrens and the Pioneers. Pioneers have lobbed their grenade, so that's going to probably hit the rifles there. Didn't actually do too much damage, and now that that grenade is gone, both of these units can be pinned down by the same flamethrower, and that is devastating for Gonzo, losing 2 more units of infantry to surrender. Panzer Grenadiers in the open, going to get pinned down. 2 health left. M10 with the M4A1 engage the Panzer 4 and find the kill there. That's a 3-star M10 with the command M4A1. So that is very nice here from YueJin, and YueJin's going to be able to swing things back in his favour. He still has the +1, well, he has +1 back in his favour after destroying all of those Panzer IVs on the bottom side. And Gonzo's just in such an awful position right now because he's just invested so many points in such a hard push to the bottom side, and it hasn't paid off at all. He's about to lose so much ground. If these Panzergrenz get surrendered and these Panzergrenz get pinned down again, then things are just going to fall apart for Gonzo very, very quickly. Now, Focke-Wulf 190 A8 here does come in with a strafing run onto the CGMC. That's getting hit by this Pak 40. What do I always say about 1 health AT guns? They always come back to bite you, don't they? And this is just another example of that. The command infantry earlier took that down to 1 health, and then the Pak 40 managed to get away. The Pak 40 comes back with a vengeance, takes out the anti-air, and now this Focke-Wulf 190 A8 is just going to be able to strafe all of his units to death. Marder 3 has found the line of sight onto the M4DD without being in line of sight of the M5 gun, so that's going to be an M4 going down. M5 gun up here has been pinned in the meantime though, but this Ranger Assault, what an absolute hero. 1 man left with the flamethrower. Can he get rid of these Pioneers? I don't think he can. That Focke-Wulf's continuing to strafe on the top side, but the rifles have found and pinned down these Panzergrenz on the bottom side. They're going to get ran down by the rifles. Meanwhile, YueJin's just going to continue his push with his reinforcements here. There is currently 16 minutes and 35 seconds until victory for YueJin with a +1. Gabby has come in to engage the Focke-Wulf 190, and that Focke-Wulf 190 gets forced to fall back by the M10A1 destroyer. YueJin not going to be able to catch on to the Focke-Wulf 190 there. Tiger E has been brought in from Gonzo. M5 gun does get hit by the rocket strike from the ME109 G2 BR21. Pioneers here going to be engaging the Ranger supports, but honestly, Ranger supports work really well at this range. They can put down all of their HE, so that's a solid 11 HE on target across this road, and the Pioneers will not be in range to throw their grenades back. So that is a really good engagement there for YueJin. And he can just keep those Pioneers in that section of the forest, mortar them to death, which is exactly what he's doing. He's got those 2 Ranger mortars, which have really good rate of fire and pin down units very quickly. These Panzergrenz still alive somehow, still pinned down though, and will eventually be surrendered here. Rifles have taken position further up, but now it's really all about this Tiger and how well the Tiger can do, and if YueJin can find something to deal with that. Looks like the mortars are going to come down with smoke. Not entirely sure what that smoke's trying to achieve. Maybe block off the line of sight onto the Tiger E while the M10 engages the Marder 3. That would be a really, really smart move there from YueJin, and possibly exactly what he's doing. I think he's just trying to block the line of sight from the Tiger. Yeah, he is. That's really, really nice to see. So that was a really, really nice smoke play. YueJin there just blocking off the sight enough so the Tiger E can engage, so that he could fire at the Marder 3. Unfortunately, didn't pay off. Marder 3 does manage to get away, but he's going to continue to create a smoke wall there and allow his M10 to stay alive whilst reinforcing AT guns arrive. On this bottom side, the Panzer IV-H is going to be engaging the rifles here. They're going to get run down by Pioneers, but I'm not sure that's going to really work out. P-47 Thunderbolt comes in with a 15 HE power bomb straight on top of the Pak 40. Pak 40 goes down. So, YueJin finding revenge there finally onto the Pak 40. Rifles here, they're probably going to get found due to the little bubble there that Gonzo must have seen. I'm not sure if he's actually going to drive on top of that building, but it would be probably a good idea for him to do so. But whilst this smoke's down, look at this cheeky M5 gun coming up from YueJin. I really, really like this a lot. If he can get that into a position on the edge of this tree line here, as soon as this smoke clears, he can engage both the Tiger E and the Marder 3. But he's got to be careful in the meantime that this M10 destroyer does not get killed by the Tiger, because that would be probably a waste of an M10. On this bottom side, rifles did manage to get out of there. Flak 36 going to be engaging the rifles out in the open here. And finally, we do see some more recon coming in from Gonzo. I'm surprised that we haven't seen the Storch again. He probably has more Storches available, and he's definitely been lacking recon. So, I don't know. I feel like that's one thing that really let Gonzo down on this bottom side whilst pushing forwards with the Befehl Panzer IVs. He didn't have enough infantry or recon ahead of his tanks in order to take advantage of his position down there. But the smoke coming in once again on top of the Tiger. The M5 gun has arrived, and YueJin's just stalling getting his M5 gun into position to take on both the Tiger E and the Panzer I there. So more smoke going down. Those Ranger mortars with the duck there can fire smoke all day long and very quickly indeed. M10 is going to be engaging the Panzer IV at the 1000 meter range. The Panzer IV could fire back, but now it's internal fragmented, will not be, and does get killed off. There's also a Panzer II Lux pushing on this bottom side, but 2-star M10 really doing work here. Gonzo's going to be coming in with his own artillery on top of that M10 to try and prevent it from being so accurate, but with the Ranger leader following up, that's going to be a 3-star M10 now. M5 gun slowly rolling into position. Gonzo hasn't lost quite yet. He's managed to recover quite well. Considering YueJin had so far to push back to make it 50-50, he had time, Gonzo, to sort of defend his line and not give too much territory to YueJin. But here with the Panzer 1C in front of the smoke, that gets track wheel destroyed by the first shot from the M10, and that's going to be a kill there. This Tiger E is being dealt with so well. YueJin playing around that, really nice play. It's a shame that earlier on these Ranger mortars were not used to save like the M4 from the Marder 3 or anything, but really nice smoke play coming down now for sure. M10 here, going to be able to engage the Panzer II Lux. It's going to take its sweet time to aim though, tell you that much, but first shot is going to get the weapon jam onto the Panzer II Lux, and the second shot will probably find the kill, yes indeed. So now he needs to probably reverse away from this Panzer IV, but as long as he keeps the turret facing the right direction, the M10 should be able to engage the Panzer IV relatively quickly. Smoke has completely dissipated on the top side now. It looks like it's only a matter of time until this M5 gun finds a shot onto the Tiger E. M10's going to be taking a shot at the speed troop, taking them out, and it looks like just slowly but surely it's going to creep forward, it's going to find line of sight into the Tiger E, it's going to be engaging it with both the M10 and the M5 gun at the same time. That's most likely what it's going to do. On the bottom side, Gonzo has kept the smoke up, M10 though is backing off. ME109 G2BR21 is going to make that fall back. Really nice engagement. P47 Thunderbolt comes in with a bomb onto the Tiger. Gabby's going to be engaging Focke-Wulf 190. I think both of these players have the same moves here. Panzer IV going to be trying to kill off the M10, but we do see the Tiger go down. M5 gun did kill the Tiger there, but there's just so much going on in the sky. ME109 G2BR21 does manage to make the P47 bomber fall back. CGMC makes the ME109 G2BR21 fall back. So it's just a matter of a duel between the Focke-Wulf 190 and Gabby. M5 gun, is that in line of sight to kill the Panzer IVH? It is not, but it can kill off this Marder 3 if that gets over aggressive. M10 here should be dead, surely. I'm not entirely sure why that Panzer IV is not trying to find the kill there. It looks like Gonzo may be trying to cover off the Marder 3. I feel like that's a bit of a missed opportunity on the bottom side for Gonzo, but he's losing more tanks on the top side, and that's going to be victory for YueJin as Gonzo surrenders. Losing those Tigers in Phase C for Gonzo is absolutely devastating, so it's no surprise that after he lost that one on the top side that he would opt to surrender. Just the territory swung completely in favour of YueJin, giving him almost a +2, which would have secured the victory, no doubt. But in the end, 2,780 kills versus, or for 1,820 losses for YueJin, and vice versa for Gonzo, of course. So kills coming out quite a lot from those AT guns throughout the game. Really good use of those by YueJin. Fantastic use of smoke in the late game to nullify the threat of the Tiger E. In terms of losses, we can see that the mortar half-track actually did a decent job on the M1 gun at the start. Took out Ranger Mortar and the Ranger support there. Panzer II Lux also did a pretty good job. Kill off the M5 gun. Made the breakthrough on the bottom side. Then we saw the Panzer IV and Panzer IVH just go absolutely ham and break through completely. They killed off an M5 gun, M4, M7 there. Really good kills on the bottom side. That was even after like 3 M4s had already gone down. We saw that Pack 40 come back and kill off the Caumont M4A1 and the CGMC. That was the one that I think was pushed down to 1 health. But after that Pack 40 found kills, not much else found kills, and that's like the biggest issue for Gonzo. Once he just like lost the units on the bottom side, the game swung completely back in favour of YueJin. I thought Gonzo had that wrapped up, but with the concentration of forces on the top side from YueJin, he definitely made it work. Found the territory to keep things even enough that he could come back into the game after finding the kills onto the Panzer IV. So fantastic game, action all across the map. But that's where I'm going to leave it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and join me in a third game where we will be seeing the victor of this series and who's going to move on to round 3 and who's going to get pushed down to the lower bracket. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Goodbye.